welcome back to my channel. Today I will be making some Roney shades. There's two of them. They're cordless. I do not have the mechanisms. I may have to do that part on a separate video, or either I will have to connect that another day to this video. But until then, let me get this part done because the customer will end up wanting these, and I need to have this part done because the mechanisms won't take that long to put on. This is the same type of linen fabric as that one that I've done, the last pinch pleats that I've done. This one is called Covington Shale. It's really pretty. I think in the last video I compared the two. The other one was ivory. This one looks ivory, but when you look really close to it, it has this little taupey tan thread that kind of goes through it. It just kind of pops just a little bit. It's gorgeous. And it is woven on with the inside. This one actually has a wide selvage, and it looks like there's another one kind of going in. It's kind of crazy. I normally put my bolt of fabric down there and roll it off, but since you're down there and these aren't that long, I'm going to roll it off this way. Whoops. And do it the opposite, which may confuse me a little bit, but I'll get it done. I gotta look at my paper and see how long they are again. I think this is for a playroom, if I'm not bad mistaken. They've got blacked out with them. Okay, that is really, really, really straight. Let me get my square so we can cut this off straight. Okay. I don't have anything over here. I don't even see my scissors. Not my really good ones. I don't have to cut and do much with Roman shades. Roman shades is mostly hand sewing a lot. Putting together, measuring, and then hand sewing. The center of it folded in half. It's 37, so that would be 18 and a half. So I'm just going to do this because I have to put a flap on the back. It won't be like wasting anything, so 18 and a half is right here. I've got to put a flap on the back, so it's going to take this, and then I have to cover a board too. So I like to cover my board with fabric too, also. So I'm going to use all my little pieces with this, and then if there's any scraps, I'll probably, when I fold them other drapes up, I'll tie them up with it. So, that way we won't waste anything. use this as my top. Well, I'm gonna mark it on the inside. I like to mark the inside, so I'm not gonna mark it yet until I cut it. I really need to find my pink scissors. I really don't know what I done with them. Okay, so this is not my regular pink scissors, but these are a Singer brand, so they should work even better. Unless they probably need sharpening like everything else I have. These are actually a nicer brand than the others. I really don't know what I did with them. I was cleaning up and moving stuff, and they probably got put up under some fabric. I love scissors. I collect scissors. I've got scissors everywhere here and scissors at home. I find scissors, I like these. I just find them. A seamstress can never have too many scissors, or tape measures, or pins, or measuring sticks. So, I am going to put an up on the inside of this one. So I know this is the right side in case it gets dropped or flipped around, and an up on the inside of this one. And the only thing I have to like sew with a sewing machine is across this bottom, and I'll show you in a minute what I have to do to it. Let me cut out one more of these, and let's save this. And while I'm at it, I'm going to put this as the up and right side. So if I have to do something with this, I remember and know what that is for. So this will go under here until I cut out my little valance to cover the mechanism and to cover my boards. Whoops, need to unroll some more of that. Just didn't want to unroll too much because I don't like having to roll it back up. Brian took my baby shopping, the 3 little girls. I call them the littles because they're young, the youngest 3. Grace is 9 and the twins is 5. And he used to take all of the 5, well, all 7, all 5, and then it ended up all 7. Christmas shopping or birthday shopping, Mother's Day shopping, whatever occasion. And this year, not the oldest, she's on her own. She bought and brought stuff the other day when we had Christmas get together. But the next 3 oldest, Hope, Christopher, and Samuel, they went shopping with Granny Pat and done some kind of surprise. So they've already been shopping. So Brian took the 3 littles to go shopping today. So that gave me time to get some work done without them hollering mama. And I can concentrate on this. I'd like to go ahead and get this done because they have another week out of school and I want to do some fun things with them. May get some of it on camera, may not. It's really hard for me to do videos and then edit. I've got videos like crazy. I just don't edit. And then lots of times I want my storage space and I delete them all. I know I shouldn't have done that. I could have done millions of videos. I've got probably 30,000 photos on my I've probably got 30,000 photos on my phone right now. There's no telling how many videos. Some of them's just short, but that kind of shifted. I'm going to recut that just to make sure it is good. Well, that's the top. It won't matter. I'll cut it off anyway. So we're going to do 78 again. And I'm going to use my square and square it off so I know my bottom is straight. Because this is the important part. Make sure the bottom is straight. Because that's where I've got to sew. Top will get cut off somewhere. It's always a little extra long just so I know I have enough. Okay, now we need to do 18 and a half. The littles have been wanting snow. I didn't know if they knew. They woke up this morning saying it was Christmas Eve this morning and saying it was supposed to snow today and tomorrow. And I feel so bad because it's really warm outside. I mean, it's still chilly, but it's warm. We're South Mississippi. So I don't think it's going to snow, but their little minds, they think it's Christmas time and it's got to snow. So I don't like snow. It's pretty. I love to see it, especially pictures. I just don't like to be in it because it's freezing, especially kids. Like, went to visit my mother-in-law that's in Denver. It's beautiful, but the kids get out there and they don't want to come back in. I have to force them to come in, and their clothes get so wet, and you have to put them in the fireplace and let them dry. They're ready to go back outside within 5 minutes, and they can mess up a whole bunch of clothes because that snow just wets everything. So you can't have enough clothes. It's just crazy. So I know they would enjoy it. It's just a pain for our mama to try to keep them warm and safe. But I know they would have a blast. So for them, I would love for it to snow if it would, so they could get the enjoyment out of it. I can only imagine 5 years old and it's snowing in Mississippi. It's just really pretty. Kind of an oatmeal-y color, I guess. And I'm not going to cut this off. I'll just wait and cut it off on one side. This is the bottom, and I put the rubber sides together. So this is the right side. So that's where I need to start sewing it. I'm gonna lay it over here like this. Let's do one more. Here's the Band-Aids when I sewed my fingers. Not sure if I'm going to show y'all that video yet or not. Everybody wants to see it. I didn't tell anybody about it, so I'm sure it's my kids. Things just collect. All I need is this. Anyways, I did put a needle in and sew, and it did knock it out of timing after I sewed my finger. Which it wouldn't have been my finger that knocked it out. It was just sewing so much thickness, and I had 6 layers of stuff, and a couple of them was like corduroy type stuff. So it was so thick when it hit, it broke and it bent and turned and went down in my finger and broke off into it. So I put a new needle in it, and it's sewing fine, which I didn't sew that much, but it sewed and done a pretty stitch. So I'm thankful that it didn't knock it out of timing. Let me tell you what we're doing. The only seam on the Roman shade is across the bottom. So here I marked the right side, and I marked the top of this right here. So we want to go to the bottom of this, the right side bottom. We're going to go across the bottom, the width of it. And I'm just going to make it even, and we're going to run off. We'll cut the other side of the line off when we table it. And I just do a 1/2 inch seam. I always do a 1/2 inch seam on pretty much. Whew, I kind of have a fear of this. I don't want to touch the thing and go. Whew. It sounds fine, so's fine, it seems like, but whew, that hurt. Man, that hurt. Normally I just zoom through. I'm just so afraid to press it, but it's pretty. It's sewing. I got mine set on 3. I always keep it on 3 with drapes. I don't know what people sew on doing anything else, but doing drapes, I keep mine on 3 on the stitches length. And I just keep it even here. So when we're tabling and when I start to fold this over, we'll just whack that off and it'll be, we can use it for something, even if it's tying up drapes. So here's the other one. This is the right side on the bottom. So we're going to lay it across here. Let's find the top. So we found the top. So let's get down to the bottom. And then go across the bottom so we can sew it. Line it up. I do a 1/2 inch seam. And back tag. Inside of my Roman shades, kind of wrinkled. I can iron it out. You can iron it, no problem. It is, I called it crinoline. I think if you look it up or something, it's called skirt cloth. It's actually something upholsterers use for when they do couches and stuff. More of the old school kind. I don't think they really make couches and stuff with the bottoms, because nowadays you can see up under the couches and things. But used to, they would do these fancy Victorian type couches and they'd have the little skirt on them and pleated stuff. This is what they used. So I call it crinoline, but the top of the pinch pleats that I made the other day, the butterfly pleats, this is crinoline. It's 4-inch crinoline, and it comes in 5 and 6-inch crinoline, but it's not thick enough not to do Roman shades. It's paper thin. It's only good enough for the top. But this, it's really thick and it's soft. It's kind of a soft thickness, so when it folds over, it keeps its shape. So anyway, I need 11 pieces each Roman shade. We might need 11 and a half, so I'll probably cut an extra one and cut it in half, because when I do it, I'll probably put a half piece at the top. It won't ever pull up to it, but it'll keep its shape and keep it from moving. And I went and started my iron, so you can see like where this was here. It'll iron that right back out. And as well, you'll see, I don't need to skip ahead, but as I put them together, I do iron them because it just makes it kind of stick to the fabric real well. And as it's unrolling, I'm getting closer. They usually start out a little bit bigger than these, and these things are very expensive. And people wonder why ramen shades are expensive. As you get closer, they want to just roll up and curl. You have to iron them out, or they'll want to roll up in your ramen shades, and then you'll have them rolling up in the windows, and that looks very tacky. This way, I just have to put something here to make it stop. 36 3/4. No, that's what I cut the fabric. 31 1/2. This is inside mount, so I cut them a little less. I'm gonna do 1/4 inch less. By the time you do both fabrics, it should just lay in there perfectly. So, 31 1/2. And I know I talk about things being straight and neat and all that, but ramen shades in particular have to be cut and done straight. If not, they will not look great on a window. You might can get away with a little bit of being off on the outside, but it's gonna look crazy and crooked, and on the inside, it wouldn't pull up and look right. So you have to make sure everything's straight and square. There's a lot of math in making drapery. And I've probably said this before to you on camera. I know I've said it to my children over and over, especially when I was homeschooling. They asked me about why did they need math. Not every job needed math or arithmetic, algebra, different things like that. I told them, yes, they do. Most every job needs something to do with mathematics, arithmetic, fractions, something. I don't care what it is. Because I asked my mom the same thing. And I ended up started making drapes when I was 13. And didn't realize it too much then. It didn't really sink in. I started in making pillows, and I know you'll probably, if you watch the apron video and stuff, when I made a pocket, how you got to divide and make the centers and stuff. You know, it didn't really sink in that, you know, that's math, that's arithmetic, that's starting to get into fractions and doing stuff like that. After I started making them a little while, and then I started working with this other lady, and she was trying to get us a circumference of a circle on a table to make a tablecloth, because she needed the top flat and make a gathered bottom skirt to go down. And they were trying to hold it. It was taking her and this other lady. They was trying to hold it, tape measure, and go all the way around it. Like, what are y'all trying to do? She's like, we're trying to get the measurement to go around it. It's like, that's Tom's pie. And they're looking at me crazy. And the one lady now, I think she's in her 80s. And the other one's probably in her late 60s. So when they looked at me kind of funny, I was thinking, they're older than I am. I'm in my 20s. I was like 22, maybe? I don't know. I thought they knew that what pie meant. So I said, you just take the diameter across and divide it by 3.14. No, that won't work. So I went ahead, I said, what is it? I divided it up and I went on doing what she had me doing because I worked for her. I was making a bed skirt or something. And let me make sure I don't get this wrong. So I asked them later, I said, what was that number? I said, mine was so-and-so. And they looked at me kind of funny. They said, how did you get that? I said, by pi. And they was like, no. I was like, yes. I said, that's what I learned in school. And I said, yeah. And I told my mama I didn't do nothing in school. Math was not going to be in anything I needed to do. And then when I started sewing, I really didn't need it in sewing, but I did. And another skills in sewing that you would have never thought was carpenter skills. I mean, a lot of people think men do carpenter work, but it's not. I mean, you could hire men to do cornice boards and cut your boards and other things for you, but I didn't. I done everything for me if I need to cut. And even those little tables, like they made the beds, the little table skirts for them and stuff. We made all those. If you couldn't buy them somewhere and stuff like that, we would make them. And so every time I turn around, I needed to make a cut or do something. So I had a jigsaw and all kinds of stuff, and I just made it myself. So you have to know mathematics. You have to be a carpenter. I mean, you have to be a seamstress. There's several traits and different things. So never say never. 6. Almost halfway there on this one. And what's crazy, most of the decorators, not all, but normally if they were female, they did not know how to read a ruler or measurements. They were not good at that. They would have to have someone, a seamstress or something, or either someone that put up drapes, a drapery installer somewhere to go get measurements for them. And usually they didn't know as well how to design stuff as well as a male did. I know it sounds crazy, but the males were better at designing. They could picture it in their head how it went together. Now I was kind of taught how to do that, because you kind of have to look at the pattern. Well, not pattern. You have to look at the picture or the drawing or whatever and figure out in your head how it goes, because we don't have patterns. You go by the measurements. Sorry, I don't know where I was at. Phone keeps texting and ringing. It was bright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This will be 10. Okay, I'm gonna lay these to the side. Do 11 more, and then the last one I'll cut that 12th and cut it in half, so I'll have it. If it doesn't fit, I'll save it. I'll find one somewhere else to put it in for something. You have to be careful. There is some of these that people do, and it's not that thick. This one's kind of a little bit plush. That's more paper, kind of like that. It doesn't work very well. It's cheaper. but it don't hold its, just thought I'd lay that out there. Okay, so. Now, I'm going to press these down, so I'll be ready to, I guess I'll do this one first because it'll end up last. And I just kind of do it this way. It kind of pulls against it, breaks them fibers down, so they'll lay back down that way. This thing, I have got to get handy. Iron. I've got it wide open. But see how well they just lay flat again? So I recommend definitely pressing them down. The only thing about making this table extra wide like this is when you're making Roman shapes. It makes it harder to do this side heel. You'll take the bottom that you sewed. I try to put my seam going that way, my sew edge, away from the front of the fabric. Press it down really good. Be careful. Okay. Line across here. That's where I'm gonna pin my seam right here, so I kind of know it's even. If I keep doing this, I'll have me another small table done that's more narrow for certain projects, so I can reach them easier. Because as I get older, this gets harder to lean in and do. Just lightly go over it. You don't want no wrinkles or slack or anything like that, because it looks flat on the window until you pull it up, and then it's kind of fan folded. You want it to look really neatly. So you take your first piece of chrome, two and a half inches on each side to 3 inches. I usually have about 3 inches, but since this is inside mount and it was going to be showing more outside, I didn't want to put 6 inches, so I tried to do 5. Right there. So I'm going to go up an inch on the bottom, and a little over 2 and a half on this side. Put my pin here in the middle, and then see if it'll match up over here. An inch on the bottom, and then the 2 and a half this side. Okay. So we'll start with this one, since it's easier. I take this one and I go like an 8. I think it's about an 8 over, and then the same amount over here, that's 2.5. I do it and put me one. And then I go over and put that little bitty space, and it's about fingernail space. But I measure it every time, make sure I have the same amount in it. And then over there, it'll be the same thing. You make sure you have the same amount and then space. And then I'll show you at the top how you know that it should be right where it pull up. But give me just a second, let me get this done. And we have our half piece. Now I'm going to put the piece that I cut on top. Okay, well, let me go over there and do down that side, and I'll show you how to make sure that it's even going all the way up. Let's go back, grab a tape measure, and run it up. And see what this side is compared to the other side. So we got 70.5. We should have 70.5 in here, but if not, something happened and our spacing is not right. And hold on. It's about a quarter over. So I'm going to have to space that one down. Somehow I messed up, so I'm going to measure that one back down a little bit. May have been right here. I see that is. It moved the bottom. So we got to move this down and then move and straighten it up. So then we should have them straight. So I have to redo each one of these, make it work. Okay, that should make it work. Okay, let me see if I can show you how to do this area right here. I need a few of these. So what I do, I hold my hand here, shake this out, make sure I have no stuff on it, like strings. Make sure that doesn't get pull that one back out. So where to go? This one. And I just hold this because I don't want to push my crinoline up. I spent all that time measuring it and you want it to stay. Okay, and remember I didn't cut that off, so it's gonna be wider. We'll do that in a minute. So right now, we want this to crease as much as my iron will let it. And stick this lining to this. Okay. So, they're not hard to make at all. It's just measurements and a little bit of time consuming, patience. When you kind of press all this, it kind of sticks some of the crinoline to the beach of the fabrics. It helps it out. And I'm just going to cut this because I don't like it sitting here. It's driving me nuts. Here, we just stick it that way. We stick this one this way, this one this way, this one this way. And it's okay right here, black outline, because this hem's going to go over it. Nobody will ever see it. Okay. So what you do is iron down each side. I don't do it too tightly since this one's an inside mount. I kind of leave it a little loose. I mean, I don't pull it and iron it really, really close. And then you're going to go back under, and where you feel that crack, that's where it's going to go back under. And you're going to put a pin there. And then it's going to come back out. And then I kind of put it in. So that's where, everywhere I put a pin in these cracks is going to be a ring that I have to sew on. And then as I've told you before, I'm going to have 2 more here. And then all the way up that side, just like this side. So, I'm getting to it. I'm kind of just, I don't know, brain fog. I gotta go up that side. I usually go up each side, but I'm not sure where to put you where you can see. I'm just not a videographer. If I could have somebody follow me around every day and edit videos, that's fine. They could do whatever they wanted. I'm just not good at that part. And I just don't want my inner line and my lining to stick out. I'd rather it be a little narrower. So I'm just going to, even though I know it's about the same size, make it a little bit narrower so it won't kick out and see in my rings and stuff. There is a one. We're going to go like that so it doesn't shift. I'm going to go there, there. It's very important to be consistent and keep it where it needs to be. Okay, so now is the time we iron down this. I've had some worse. I've had some that don't ravel at all. And something else I do before I trim them all in, I like to make sure that they're the right size in between the pins. So it's supposed to be 31 3/4, and I've done it real loosely. So I could probably pull this one over just a hair, and it'd be 31 3/4. Make sure, because I cut my crinoline a 1/2 inch narrower, and that's gonna be perfect. So I'll go ahead and turn that one in. Where's that crinoline? Right there. Yeah, I won't measure it. So let me go ahead and turn this one up and do it. Now, right here is where my first, let me find it's hot. Right here is where my first set of rings go. All the way across, 4 rows. So I hand hem up through there, just so it looks neatly and you will not see it. And then I will have a row of rings here, 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 and here. Well, evenly, I will measure. And it will go all the way up in every one of these and stop at the bottom of the half here. There will not be one on the top because I'll have a board mounting this. And there'll be a row of rings in each crack on this side and each crack of that side. The only time I hand hem is on the 2 bottoms down here. So mostly this is put together with the rings hand sewn in. And I will, before I sew them in, I will come back and measure and make sure all my widths and everything are what they need to be before I sew them in, because like I say, it's inside mount. It cannot be too wide. It's got to be what it needs to be. Okay. So if my board is going to be pretty close to this, I will not put a row. But now if my board is going to be like way up here, I will put a row just so that will not shift. So that's where my first row of rings will go. Let's see if I can get over here to this side. Make sure my lining's turned up under there and everything. Right there. This is where I will be hand tacking this in. Oh yeah, we have to have a weight rod on the bottom, and I'll explain all that too. Keep it pulled straight and to give it a little bit of weight so it will pull up. To get 4 rows of ring, you take your width, divide it by 3, and that'll give you 4. So I am going to put these here, and make sure right there. And this is an odd number, so I'm about an 8 off. This one in here has a little bit more, but there is no way I can get an 8 split, so we're good. Okay. Where is that? Let's go this way. I don't know why I'm moving it every time. Okay. So, let's just do it this way and we'll end up with some rows of rings. So, there is a row there, a row there, that. So I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 times 4. So I have 44 rings on each Roman shade. So that's 88 rings I have to sew on. And then 4 bottoms to tack. And a partridge and a pear tree. And I'm not putting a ring up there, so I am just putting one right here in the middle. So I know I'm not sewing there, but I do not want this to shift. So I'm putting one over here and over here, because I do not want it to go anywhere. And this, you just have to be very careful. I leave it where it's at and go in. I do not take it out. That way where it's at is where that ring needs to go in. Or you can. Okay, so then I'm just doing like this. This is not the way they're finished. They'll fold double than this, but this is just how they'll fan fold for me to store. Like that. My rings go in there. So, but I can show you how they actually do when you fold them. Let me show you. Boop. So when you fold them up, you'll have a weight rod go in this row. When you fold them for that, these will fold in half into each of your rings like that. This is after you've got them mounted and everything. So every one of them will do that. So that's what the way they will look when they're down like that. That's the bottom. Very pretty. And then when they're open, they'll kind of have that little baby look. Anyway, let me put that back. I just love Roman shades. And I have no custom drapes in my house. What is that saying about a shoe? I don't know. Something about that. Something about a shoe. I don't remember what it was. It's something about a mechanic. Doesn't work on his own stuff. It's true. Okay. Now I didn't repeat that. again. Woohoo, yummy. So again, I like to put my seams where they go downwards because I like to see my seam when I'm trying to measure and all that kind of fun stuff. I'm putting my crinoline in here and everything. So here's the line I like to go by over here. I want to keep it straight. Strings, no. Fixing to have to go. Brian's home with the kiddos. I'm gonna give them a little bit longer in case they're wrapping or doing something. My mother-in-law's home. I think they're grilling. Or Brian's grilling, but they're bringing home food to grill. So I need to get home so I can help cook or do whatever I need to do. Let's see. That needs to come a little bit further down. Be good, I don't have to cook. Yes. Cooked so much the last few days, weeks, months. Extra with all these holidays. I need some pins down here. And a crown. And a tape measure. So I like to go up an inch. About 2.5, maybe a little over. It was about an 1/8 over, but much. And you stay there. It's about right. That one's on the top. So I can put, I don't know, my finger in it like that. I just have so many little notches on my stick here that I go by. Just make sure there's a little crack. that's not text messages, that somebody's down at the shop. It's probably Hope and Christopher. They had went to pressure wash, and they're probably unloading all the equipment and stuff. They had started it yesterday and didn't finish, so they went today to finish. Let's make sure I have this so I don't have to go up like I did last time and redo it real quick. I may have to again, you never know. Let's measure and see what it is on this side and what it is on that side. It should be about what the other one was too. Also, 70.5. If we have a winner on this side. 70.5. So not only does these two side matches up, it matches up with the other one that we done. So when if they're hanging close together, the pleats should pull up and look the same. Let me make sure. This is getting heavy, man. It likes to cut down. stuff over me. Pans where these don't shift. Where'd that one go? I must have missed a pan. I took that one out. I didn't remember taking that one out. 44 rings on this 1 diamond shade. I'm gonna pull the ends out. Now I got to measure. Make sure I got to redo something. 31 3/4. Quarters. 31 3/4. Makes me feel better. No rings across here, just follow it so I don't have to worry about it moving and shifting. So the hardest part is over. It's just taking time to sew on the rings And since today's Christmas Eve, I'm going to go, they're grilling, we'll be eating and having family time with them, I guess. And then tomorrow is Christmas with the family. I'll just come back over here the day after Christmas and sew on rings so I can bring you along with us. And that way you can see what it looks like to sew on rings. We have to put it on fast motion. So it's going to be like really slow. Well, not really slow, it's just going to be time consuming because I have so many to sew on. So we just, everywhere there's a crack, put a pin in so we can have another ring, and there will be 44 rings. That pin don't want to be there. Don't want them to shift. I keep trying to fix it where to let it lay down. Get back around here where it's easier to reach them. They need to be where they need to be, not anywhere else. Okay, so I will come back the day after Christmas and sew on rings for you. Okay, I'm back to the point where I can sew on my rings. There's a lot of rings. I have 4 layers. I have 4 rows. And first off, the only hand hemming you have to do on Roman shades is this bottom. I go across here and up, and you don't have to go all the way. Sometimes I go all the way up, I kind of forget. Just go up somewhere in here on this side and that side, and that's it. So you only have one seam on the sewing machine, which is across the bottom, and you pull it up, and then you have one hand hemming right here on each side. That's it. The rest is hand sewing on all these rings right here onto each one of these where you see all these pins going up. After you do that, it's mounting it on the board, putting a weight rod down here, and putting the little mechanism in, unless you use the old traditional way. And we'll get to that in a little bit. So right now, I'm going to hand hem. I do one set at a side. Right now I'm just going to hand hem this bottom. I do one side at a time. It's kind of easier for me to do like these 2 rows of rings and work my way up, and you'll see as I do that. And I may put it on high speed, fast mode, so I can get it done quicker, because I know people don't like long videos. If they see long videos, they will skip it. So we'll see what happens here. But right now I'll keep it kind of slow and explain kind of what I'm doing, and then I'll speed it up. Right now we just kind of go in where I come out. I just go to the bottom layer and then come up. Make sure your string doesn't get caught. And then I come in the top where I come out from the bottom and just keep it even, and your string or thread is hid. And I just keep repeating the same process until I get up here where it looks neatly and finished. Now these stay open at all times because they just fan fold, and they're folded under really well, and they don't go anywhere. They look neat. When I get to the last, like right here, I will tie it off by, I'm just going to do a small little pickup here, maybe 1/8 of an inch. I'll hold this up, I go and make it, I go in there twice, pull it, I like go up under there and come out on this side and clip it. That way you see no strings, and it looks very neat. Okay, now for the rings. Okay, we're in this little crack that I left. So we go in it and back out. We grab our ring. You can get them in white or clear. It doesn't matter. I think even off-white. I usually just use the white ones. And then you come back and go in. Just be careful. Sometimes the string likes to catch with your knot, and when it does, you'll be starting over. And sometimes it'll be on the last loop around. So I usually go around 4 to 5 times. That's your preference. And see, my string's already tried to catch on that knot when it goes in. So I have to just be careful when I go around. It'll kind of knot up. So I try to hold it here as I go through so it doesn't do that. But you want them to hold very good, so I would recommend at least 4 to 5 times like that. You don't want to do less because the strings run through. And the bottom ones definitely, because this is where there's a weight rod in here that kind of gives it, keep it straight, and it also gives it a little bit of weight to keep it, the heaviness down as it pulls up. So you want the bottom one definitely 4 to 5 times, if not more. And so to tie it off, I run through all them strings or threads that I just done, hold the loop here, go around twice, ties it off, and then clip it Not too close, but you don't want to leave a long string. You don't want it to look tacky, but you don't want it too short where it comes loose. So while I'm here, what I do, it's not hard to go ahead and do the second one. So I keep my hand up under there where I can feel that it's going under. So I see I'm going on this side of the pin, and then I come back out on that side. I take this out and I just take that out, and I just keep repeating the process right here, and I go in and out, and I do it 4 to 5 times minimum. And I just have my finger under there. Just be careful and don't poke it, because if you do, you'll start bleeding, and you do not want to get blood on the fabric. If you do, you can get it out with peroxide. But I just recommend go ahead and get a Band-Aid on and try not to get blood anywhere. But if you do, peroxide will take it out. Okay, so we go through all the threads, come back out, loop through twice. My hands are really cold. It is cold right now in South Mississippi, and my little sewing box has not warmed up too much. So I cannot maneuver very well. They're like stiff. So I just keep going back and forth on this process until I get to the end, and then I'll flip it over and do the other side. And I don't move, I just keep flipping this under. Like after I get through with these, I'll flip this over and just keep pulling it down until it's folded up at the end down here with me. And then I'll flip it over. Oh, I forgot to silence my phone. All the notifications keep coming through of cameras and stuff. Roman shades was very, very popular when I first started doing this. And they were very popular when I stopped. I've just started getting back into it. So I'm thinking, since I've already got some to do, that they're still popular. But I don't know. I just know that they're starting to do the cordless now. So that's something new that I've got to learn how to do. Always make sure your thread matches your fabric. You do not want to have it noticeable. So we'll just do this and we'll pull it. And as I do that one, then I'll do this and just keep pulling until I just keep on until it ends up down here. But right now, I just need to get to this one. And I don't have to move. It just comes to me. Very simple. I'm used to moving and laboring a lot, so sitting can kind of be boring for me, but some people like it because you just kind of sit and rest. It's a good time you can, I guess, sit and listen to the radio or watch a movie or do something like that. I usually just kind of get in my thoughts. The time goes pretty quickly. I don't know why. It just flies by for me. Too quickly. But these are very easy to do. It's just a few steps. If you have any questions on anything, ask me. Don't mind. It's time to thread this, so I think while I'm doing that, I'm going to put you on fast mode and finish this out. So now we have all those rings sewed on, and we got to do this side. Just repeat the process until we got these 2 rows of rings all the way down. Just have a little bit of thread. I might can get 1 row. I'm at 1 ring. After I do this one, I have 1 more Roman shade, the same size. Okay, so this one is completely done sewing on rings. Now it's ready to mount on the board and put in the weight rod. This one is ready to sew on rings, both sides. time for the mounting part. Maybe I should put you on the other side. Okay, so now I've got to mount these. I'm gonna put this right here on this line. So I'm gonna straight. But before I do this, I forgot this one has a little flap that's got to come on the back. So I have actually got to, man, it's cold. I've actually got to go sew that so it can flow evenly on the back before I do that, before I mount it on. So it's actually going to be a little different. Okay, so I'll do that before I mount the board. I'm hoping this one works. It's not the high-end one, it's just a cheaper version that I use. If not, I've got a hand one stapler that I use. And no more than this is across, it's fine. Across here is our weight rods that goes across here. And they have to be covered. You do not need metal showing. Used to, until I got to be, I don't know, probably in my 20s, we would take the lining and sew a little tube and put them in it. After I got a little older, they started buying this tubing, and we didn't have to make it anymore. So I like it because I don't have to sit there and cut and sew. It saves me time. So I cut it off probably about an inch wider on each side, and then I just flip it under and I'll slide it in and hand tack it. So it's just a little tube, so you can take your scissors or anything and just slide it in, and it kind of is a little hollow there, and I just tack it up like it's a side hem of this or something. And you don't see your stitching. It's just a few stitches, it's not very much. Then I tie it off. That way the rod does not fall out. And then we do the same on the opposite side. And kind of make it straight, make sure it's straight across there. I may have cut that one too long. I hear the kiddos outside playing. They can be loud. Uh-oh. What happened to you? What's wrong? What's wrong with you, babe? What's wrong? What's wrong? You're not gonna talk to Mama? You just need some Mama love? They didn't agree to something, did they? It's not much longer. We're fixing to go get some lunch, okay? Mama's got to finish these little weight rods right here. I've got to put them in this. And then I would like to get the boards mounted, okay? Can you give Mama a few minutes to do that? Then we'll go home and get us some lunch. And maybe we can find us some cookies. Does that sound good? You can go in the living room and sit down on the couch if you want. Be careful, that chair might flip. Don't bump the camera either. Don't move the chair. And don't mess them on the sewing machine either, okay? Y'all adjusted it a little too much for Mama last time, so don't mess with no knobs. Be careful. Okay, so let me slide this one in this and show you how I attach it to my rings, because they will slide out if you don't attach them. So the weight rods, you just slide them in with the cover on them, and I've already sewed the ends and everything. And they should stick out approximately 1/2 inch each on each side. I take my needle here and thread. When I get them situated, while it's standing at the top, I just go around it a few times. Just attach it, because you don't want it falling out on this side or that side sticking out. I just like to secure it a little extra. And usually I tie my strings that go up, my cords that go up and down and pull it. I usually wrap them around this and around that. But with it being a new mechanism, I'm not sure what it's going to look like, so I can't do that. So I want to make sure that one right there, and this one over here, I have it where it will not slide out. Okay, so this is 71 inches long. I've made the mark across here. Well, I made a mark. I'm going to lightly do this here. That's where it will be mounted on the board. Okay, and my board is like 1.5 inches. So, let me go down. I got my, so it's 1.5 inches long, or width. So I am going to make me a mark here, and I am going to serge this off because I do not want to have to put a cap or anything else above it. If I serge it, it'll be finished It's inside mount, and you won't never see the top of it because it'll be touching the top of the windowsill. And since I'm serging across this, I'm going to put a few pins in here to make sure all my fabric is staying in place on this side as well as the other. So let me go get my serger, and we'll serge across that, and then we'll mount it. Okay, I haven't used this in a long time. It's one I bought, wow, I don't know, it's probably about 20 years old too, which I've used it before then, but anyway. So I'm going to kind of, I can't scoot it back too much. I don't have an extension cord, and I've only got so far to use right here in this area. I'm just trying to get it as far as I can. The light does work. Okay. It's going to be kind of complicated because I already got that on there, but it'll be okay. This is very aggravating now. I do wish I had me a commercial one. They are a lot faster. I don't like doing things slowly. Let's flip it around, mount it on the board, and then we'll wait for the mechanism to get here and show you how to do that. Okay, let's cut this thread. Okay, you got a 1.5 inch board, which is 1.5 this way, and it's mounting inside mount. So it's going to go up in the windowsill like this, inside mount. We want our nails up this way so they don't see. So if anybody does look in, they see the smooth part. We're putting this mechanism on this side. Well, it's, I think, made of plastic and metal, and you do not want the sun to protrude down on it. So they want a cover that kind of does that. So I pre-made this out of lining, and I done the blackout. So they said 4 inches, 3 to 4 inches. So I'm gonna lay this down. This needs to be stapled on first, so that will give it a cover. See? So I'm going to staple this across real quick so you won't see this. And that'll give the mechanism its little cover from the sun and damage. So there's that little, and it's doubled over. I cut it out probably about 11 inches, doubled it over, and just put a side hem in it. I make it even with my line down here, and then I pull it up here, and then I'm gonna lay it over and hang on to it really good and put my staple there. And then I'm gonna keep doing that as I go across, because I do not want to take any chances that it, I don't even think I'm out of staples. That's about right. Move either out of staples or out of thread or you're out of something. Nothing ever does just like it needs to. Right here. Okay. This is just not my day. I guess it didn't latch in good enough. Okay. Go up under there and latch and pop there. Okay. And since it's inside mount, you know, I said I'd cut my board 1/2 inch narrow. So I have 1/4 inch extra on this side of this Roman shade sticking out and 1/4 inch extra on this side. That way the board will be able to go in and not get stuck in there. And yes, I like a lot of staples. I want to put one more little thing. I always put extra over there because it's extra thickness and I want to make sure they stay. Okay, so this is how it's going to hang in the front. You see the side. I got to trim. It actually wasn't. Yeah, it is. It's a thread. Okay, I got it. Anyway, this is the front. This is the side view. And that's the back that will cover the mechanism. So now all we need is the mechanism and let it run the strings down, put the little orbits on it, and all we got to do is push it up with our hand like a cordless blind or pull it back down, and that's it. So when I put the orbits on it and the strings, it has to be hand folded first. Don't do it like how I was doing it when I was doing that earlier. So you have to have it 3 inches. So you're going to do it here, then you take these and you bend it in half, and every one of these is going to have to do here. So since I don't have the strings in it, I'm going ahead and doing these right now so they'll be setting. And I'm kind of getting their little, see how those, look how pretty. That is gorgeous. I'm going to go ahead and let it sit like this. So when I get the mechanism and it gets done, it will be set and gorgeous when it gets hung. Okay, so that is what the Roman shade will look like. It is just gorgeous. So now I've got to do one more of those, just like that, to that stage, and wait for the mechanism, and then I'll get that on here. So you put the mechanism in the middle, 2 screws, real easy. You put screw eyes in where the rings are, and I just put those in by hand. I'll tighten them up with a screwdriver, and then we go from there. So there's strings coming out of the left side and the right side of this mechanism. The ones that go to the left go through the screw eyes and down through the rings all the way to the weight rod. After you get down there, then you have these little orbits that you squeeze, and it's plastic with a little spring in it. When you let it go, it just holds it up to there. So when you mount the Roman shade, it stays up there, but you can pull it down, it opens just like a blind from Lowe's or somewhere. And when you push it up with your hand, it stays in this position. I didn't get any pictures or videos or anything after this was installed. Maybe I can get some in the future to be able to show you. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our page. Have a blessed day.